But yeah, we'll come on next to Infozech. Amistya is going to be presenting on behalf of them. So Amistya, I'm going to switch the view over to you, and yeah, it's in your hands.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, you.
Great stuff, really.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Good day to all the people around the globe. I hope I'm audible and clear.
Yep,
you are.
Okay, and you can see my screen?
We can.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Amistya Kumar. I will be presenting a solution for digital handover of sites. As you have seen in the industry, that merger and acquisition in the telecom tower market are taking place at a faster rate. And industry and analysts believe that the market is going to move in the similar direction of consolidation. So our solution basically, sorry, just give me a second. Yeah, sorry, I moved to a second slide. So I'm talking about the traditional handover that used to happen in case of a merger and acquisition. Now the primary objective of the buyer is to ensure that he gets a complete valuation done of what he has paid for. And it's not just in terms of count of assets, in terms of quality of the asset as well, because whatever he has purchased, he has got to maintain that in the future and also replace or whatever things has part of the acquisition has to do. All assets from the FAR basically moves to the buyer, and then the buyer has the complete responsibility to conduct the due diligence on what he is buying. The challenge that he has is how do he ensure the quality of the data that is collected as a part of due diligence? And the activity in itself is become very challenging because of COVID being there in the world. So the acquisition activity starts with a large volume of data points that needs to be collected as part of validation and data collection. And this has traditionally been happening with the help of paper trails or Excels, and even photographs that were captured as part of this activity would be stored in folders in the laptops, and the third party getting involved will ensure that he is having the right kind of candidates to do this activity. It's a very large activity to be done as part of this merger acquisition, and that's at the volume and the task that is at the hand of it. We have seen with our customers that we have done this activity. They set up a very large checklist that needs to be configured, and this is because of the challenge of the types of sites that we have got and the volume of assets that are there, which needs to be validated. And the challenge is that you don't have the right kind of people on the field who are really very smart to understand what is to be collected and what not. How do we remove those quality issues of data collection and ensure that the completeness of that due diligence is the challenge with the traditional handover that is to happen. Now, because you cannot control the quality at that end, there was a verification that needs to happen at a back office, and it's again a tedious task because a lot of human resources are required for it. And then these people will really look into the data on the Excel. They will also look into the paper with the photographs, and this became an activity in itself to be completed in the time frame. Once this is done, the major task in this whole handover is to do the reconciliation of the FAR that was given from the seller. And as you know, this FAR's data is not really updated, and they are into a silos where they keep, and they're not in the consistent format. So reconciling of a consistent data you have collected and verified with the FAR is an extremely tedious job that has to be done. And we, as a Infozech, provided a solution to one of our customers where we are able to complete this whole activity in a defined time frame and with complete digitization and automation. That's where we have solved and created a solution where it becomes a digital handover, where we have a complete control on automation that is required to handle this. So our solution is ready. It is available on the app right now on the Google Play Store, which you can start to use. What we have done, we have taken the best of checklists that are created as part of a merger acquisition activity. The checklists are smart. They will automatically change according to what you are going to collect, where you are going, which site you are going to. And they also ensure that you are having the complete collection of the data that is to be taken up. And to ensure that we are collecting the right data, we have a lot of drop-down list and validation inbuilt in the app so that you do not do a revisit is required. We also provide provision for photographs, images for whatever checkpoints are being collected. And then also there are videos that you can capture. So we have a lot of validation mechanism to ensure that no revisit is required. Anything that is missing at a later stage can be picked from the data that's been collected. In this journey, what we also been doing is putting up tags on these assets so that we create an identity of each of the assets that you're doing, because this is one of the activity you will be doing across your sites and across all the assets. And this again helps us in the asset details, geotag photographs, verified, matched with the FAR. So we have a complete automation process which delivers the verification activity automatically and just need approval of the user, or he can get the data from the photographs that are available. We remove there's no latency in verification and reconciliation because of that. And then both the seller and the buyer had real-time access to the data with a digital proof, which establishes the trust in the whole system and ensure that a proper handover is taking place between the two parties. A centralized repository is created where we see a digital twin also has been done, which the complete picture of your sites are getting created in the system with the photographs and real-time attributes of whatever asset that you collect. So that's done. We are able to close this activity in the verification stage itself, because as you complete your collection of data, your verification and your reconciliation also completes with that. You don't need to spend a tedious time with manual verification and reconciliation. So we bring in a lot of efficiency in terms of time. And then I think I'm just talking about a little bit of details about the data structure that we create in the system with all the type of data point that you need to collect from different types of sites, different types of assets, different types of attributes that you need to collect, and ensuring all of that through various methods of geotagging, data tagging with the photographs and other things, and ensuring every other system is getting updated on that. ERP, the CRM, and your visualization tool will have the data in a consistent format. And as a critical success factor for this application, we bring in both the parties empowered with the recording of the assets, which helps in the completing this activity easily. Single source of truth is what we bring in, and the digital proof existence, so there's no conflict at the time of handovers. And then you're ready for a digital rollout of all your systems, because you have the master, which will support your whole activity of new customer co-locations, or you want to build up new sites or CapEx activities and the operations. Thank you. That's it from us.
Fantastic. Thank you, Amistya. Are you able to stop sharing your screen now, just so we can go back to the see all of the panelists? Oh, I think you might still be sharing.
Yeah, I'm stop sharing. Yeah.
Ah, brilliant. Thank you for that. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, thanks for the presentation, Amistya. I think it's going to be Hans that's going to be taking the lead on this one. And Hans has actually prepared his own counter presentation, which is the first for the den. So I'm just going to share that now.
Okay. First I have to apologize because I'm on the wrong leg. I looked at Infozech, what are the solutions they provide and how it comes together. But when I hear this story, has the same basis. And the basis is that if you don't have reliable data, whatever you produce after that is useless. Yeah. And when I hear the presentation, that is like, okay, it is like magic. We have everything, we model it for you, and it pops out, and this is the price you have to pay. But if you buy an asset spread all over the country, then if you don't have the right data, what is available, if you don't have the barcodes and you don't have a system that is registered in, then in my opinion, it doesn't make sense. So my question is, and it is actually the same that I show in this story. You have an RMS system and you have an Infozech domain. Now the Infozech domain is crunching the data, and the RMS system is the system that provides the data. So your system only makes sense if you have reliable data that comes in. Now I had two questions, but I can translate it a little bit into your story what you presented. Here I said, what brands does Infozech support? I can say the same, RMS brands. I can say the same, like, okay, if you buy a system from another company, then what are the ERP systems that you support? How do you get the data out of it?
So I think I saw the first question you're asking is what RMS brand does Infozech?
Yeah, but in there I translated it to your presentation because you could talk about buying an asset from another company. Yeah. In this case, it is getting information from the field that has to be reliable. Yeah. So yes. If you want to get the information, it has to come from a system. So what systems can you get data from? What is your interface?
So we have got a standard interface for ERP systems. We can talk to any of the ERP, Microsoft, Oracle, SAP, any of them, because we have a standard APIs for that to collect the FAR data, and we understand how the FAR data is being stored as part of this merger and acquisition activity. So it's independent of any system. We can say we say that we can integrate with any of your ERP system where you have got the FAR. The fixed asset register will give us what's actually bought for. So most of this acquisition or merger happen on the FAR. And then
Good. Then I skipped the second question, but it's related on this slide. So Jack, just stop it. Then how do you know that your source is reliable? Because if your source is not reliable, then again, it is the whole story after it is not reliable.
Yeah, the source is not reliable, and that's where the buyers are doing this due diligence as part of, so in this acquisition process, most of the company go for a due diligence to verify what they bought is exactly there on the sites, because this is a complete distributed environment. What they're buying, they really don't have any picture about. So we support that whole activity. We digitally capture all the data with photographs, with the proofs. We also tag them so you know that what you bought and you already have an identity of your own. And so we are actually building a digital twin out of that data from our system with the visual proofs, even videographs, photos, and the complete data sets in the mobile app. So your field team does not take papers or Excels to collect the data. They are using a smart device where whatever they collect information related to a particular example, a genset example. He's capturing the manufacturing, he's capturing the model, the KVA, and the tank capacity and everything. Now he's taking the photographs of that. It's not just the information that you're collecting. It has a side-by-side photographs which you can validate at any given point. Even the buyer can say, okay, I've had something in the FAR which is not really right, because over time my things have changed in the operations and during the whole maintenance cycle. Things change, and on the site you do not have the same picture which was there when you build that site, and that does not reflect back. So that's where we are bringing in this activity. We see that there are ghost assets which are lying in your FAR, but you don't have that on the site. And there are assets which are there on the site which is not reflecting back into your FAR. And that's where the trust is established between the buyer and the seller. Look, I have done the activity. This is what you've got. And we need to be, our valuation has to change accordingly. So that's where we are bringing in. This is really helping us because we have reduced the timeline of this merger and acquisition timeline because of smart checklist. You just have to complete the collection of data on the side, and the system will do all the reconciliation and verification with the minimal support of back office. So you don't have to set up a whole back office team to verify everything from the Excels and the photographs. It's all happened from the system. And then you don't need to go to the ERP system to push the data. It's all pushed to the ERP through an API. We have now the master data, everything with the details in the attribute level, make, model, capacity, when it is purchased, kind of a thing. And then once you have done the acquisition completed, your new ERP system will have this master, and your operations, your network can start to roll out new sites, build new capex on those sites.
Okay, so you provide a set of tools and instructions and processes to execute in the field, to gather the data, and then it will upload it, you crunch the data, and you come with a report.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a complete digitization and automation that we bring in.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Hans. Guy and Chuck, any additional questions or feedback for Infozech?
Yeah, one question from me, Amistya. Thank you for the presentation. You know, we have gone through multiple acquisition, both asset and company purchases. The common denominator of this is that the seller wanted us to take over as fast as we can, and we want to have the correct verification to claw back the value we paid or overpaid or to get this claw back, right? So there is an element of mistrust and the element of speed to action as well. How does your system help to squeeze the timeline? Because I mean, currently we are negotiating with the party. We are talking 9 months. They want to do it in 3 months. And how do we compromise? How do you not compromise the quality or the authenticity of the data while you squeezing the time to get it done through your system? That's first question. Secondly, yes, you collect the data, and how do you interface to upload into our individual systems after acquisition complete? 2 questions.
Thanks, Ken. So for the first question, where you think how we squeeze the time, look, the collection of data will still need to happen on the field. We can increase the team because we can train them faster on the app. You don't need to provide them Excel. You don't need to implement a separate process. Our process is standard. We understand the whole tower domain. We understand what type of site it is. If it's a small set site, I know there's only 100 data points I need to collect. If it's a large MSR site or a BTS site, I have to collect some 1,000 data points. System knows that it has already got some input from the FAR that I have got some 50 assets on a site. Okay, so we already populate that data into the system. So the completeness of the data is ensured. Either they'll mark that this asset is not available or this is available, then they collect the whole data again and take the photographs and tag it. So you know I have a new identity for each this asset with the complete data. So how we are improving is you don't need to retrain people. You don't need to resend the people on the site again to recollect, because there's also verification activity. Because you have a photograph, okay, I did not find a particular data, I can look at the photographs and put that. So that's what we have done with our customer who has more than 10,000 sites, which they actually carved out and they were looking at doing that activity. And again, same time pressure. So they increased the size of the teams. They floated some 150 teams on the site, on the ground, in different geographies to collect the data in speed. And this was done within a week's time. We trained every week one region, and we started that activity. And the second part where we really squeeze the time is the verification and reconciliation with the existing FAR. This is done automatically. While the teams are collecting the data, we are loading the whole FAR into our system, and the reconciliation happens in the system rather than people doing it verification themselves. The verification happens with the system, and you just need to approve or reject those findings. So we remove your backend activity majorly. And we also, on the first part, we reduce the training and the enablement time and the re-verification time to certain things. And I think the second part, the question was, sorry, I missed that. Can you reiterate that?
You're on mute.
So you're on mute, Jan, sorry.
Sorry. I'm asking, like, how do you upload the data to our own system? We have our own asset registry and systems.
Yes, so we have standard APIs with the ERP system. We know how most of the FAR are created. So we can transfer through the APIs. Once your approval is done, your acceptance is done with that, okay, this site is fine, these assets are all good. You define this will go to my FAR, this will not go to my FAR, because again, every company has their own financial terminology, how they want to implement that. And it's a click of button. We just need to work with your ERP team to say the APIs are available. Most of the ERPs we have integrated are available with the APIs. So it's just automatically.
Thank you. Very clear.
All right, fantastic. Chuck, any last kind of comments or feedback or questions for Infozech?
One question, if the answer is too long, we can do it later, but is basically, I missed that. You operate in the data and process management sector of this industry, which is pretty crowded these days. So what's the key differentiator for Infozech?
I think we are totally focused on tower domain. That's a key focus that we have. We are totally tower domain experts. We have a team of SMEs who knows the industry very well, and we are adopting with the traditional challenges. Our systems is not focused with the approach that how we can make the life of our stakeholders easy, how we can make it very easy. The people in the field are not really tech savvy, and we are working with the technical people who need to ensure that they are using the next gen technologies on the mobile, on the, even there are multiple other solutions that we have got. So idea is to simplify the things, let the technology play the role and the back end. Our interfaces are so simple that anybody on the field can simply use and collect the data without hindrance. And the apps are available really on the Play Store. Install and go. That's the situation we have got with the help, and that's how we are differentiating ourselves.
Good, thanks.
All right, brilliant. Thanks, Amistya. So just a reminder, guys, you can head over to the poll section in the live discussion on Swapcard, and you can vote whether you're in or out on our presenters today. Just want to assure you that this isn't completely anonymous. It's just for fun. We just want to get a sense of how the presenters have been doing and get that overall sense of feeling. So don't feel like we're going to pass on your information or anything. You can see Blade on doing very, very well at 92% in, which I'm sure Stu will be happy with. Let's see what we get for Infozech. So I'm just publishing the poll for that one now.